top story. 400 members of the White Helmets Civil Defence Group and their families trapped in southern Syria have been evacuated to Jordan. We're going to stay with that story then. Joining me now is Ibrahim Olabi, the director of the Syrian Legal Development Programme. He's worked with some of the White Helmets who have now been moved out of Syria. Mr. Olabi, thank you for joining us here on BBC World News. First of all, can I ask, have you had any contact with people since they've been moved out of Syria?
Well, thank you for having me. Since the news came out and since the regime offensive has started on the south of Syria, there have been constant contact with the White Helmets trying to secure some sort of an evacuation, which we like to call forced displacement, because evacuation gives the idea that these people will be at some point able to return to Syria. They won't be. And yes, we've been in contact, trying to understand the dangers of this complex operation, trying to understand if we're going to get everyone out, and also trying to get as much detail as we can of that deal.
So we're just looking at footage of that journey out across the border. What are you hearing from people about what sounds like quite a daring mission?
Well, yes, it is a daring mission. It is a complicated mission. It is a mission that we would have wished not to see in the first place. I mean, rescuers are not supposed to be rescued themselves. These are people who are impartial, who are neutral, who have been saving hundreds of thousands of Syrian lives. Unfortunately, I say unfortunately, but it's fortunate that they're also witnesses of crimes committed by the Syrian government, by the Russian regime, and therefore they could no longer stay in the areas where the regime has been advancing. And so there must have been a way to get them out, and this operation was the only way to rescue these rescuers. As you know, the south of Syria was part of a deal brokered by the Russians to get fighters from the south to Idlib. The White Helmets were not included in the deal explicitly by the Russians and by the Syrian government. They fear them more than they fear combatants because of what they've witnessed, because of what they've been able to share and show the world of the atrocities that were taking place in Syria.
And I suppose you must have real concerns for all those who have been left behind.
Yes, I mean, and these concerns are not just things that we think may happen. I mean, when a similar situation happened in Aleppo, there were members of the White Helmets that we no longer know where they are. Others appeared in videos having to confess under threat to say that they've worked with terrorists, and some have been enforcedly disappeared. No one knows where they are. But what we do know, and this is based on reports from the United Nations and Amnesty International, that those who are disappeared, those who are in regime cells and prisons, are subject to systematic torture. And the White Helmets, prior to the regime gaining control to areas where they've operated, have been systematically targeted through airstrikes and even double taps, which are a means of warfare where you bomb an area. You wait until the rescuers get there, which in this case is the White Helmets, and then once they get there, they get bombed. This has been a systematic method of warfare for the Syrian regime and their Russian allies. And so they would do anything not to see these people get to countries where they can testify for all the atrocities that they've seen.
OK, Ibrahim Olabi, we do appreciate you joining us. Thank you very much. Now, until the age of 12, Martin Pistorius